Remember a time that you indulged in a delicious comfort food. Maybe you had a molten chocolate pastry or a cheesy, rich lasagna. Are you aware that foods that you eat impact how painful your periods are? With the right nutrition, you can eat delicious foods and alleviate period pain. In this episode, we are going to dive into the way nutrition affects menstruation. Thank you so much for showing interest in our series, and we hope you enjoy. Welcome to our Nutrition for Menstruation presentation. We're going to talk about different foods that help with period cramps and a couple of recipe ideas and meal ideas that you guys can incorporate whenever you are on your period as well. And to start off, we have a couple of introductions for the people who worked on this presentation. So starting with myself, I'm Emily. I'm an experienced architecture and media and information major, and I'm currently a junior. So something that I'm passionate about is making gifts for my friends, and on a more professional level, I suppose, I really enjoy creating inclusive, accessible, and usable designs for others. And one of my favorite things about the menstrual movement is just the fact that it opens the door to a lot of really important conversations that I think that people should be able to have more often. And my favorite food is ramen, but like homemade ramen.
Hi everyone, I'm Genevieve. I am the secretary for Pad the Mitten this year. I'm a junior and I'm double majoring in human resource management and Spanish. And I'm passionate about increasing awareness and education for women's health issues since it's something that I've dealt with personally and I'm very passionate about it. And my favorite thing about the menstrual movement is being able to just talk about my period and not feel ashamed in any way. And my favorite food, I have a lot of favorite foods, but one of them would definitely be tacos.
Hi guys, my name is Zainab. My major is behavioral neuroscience and my minor is Spanish, and I'm a sophomore. I'm really passionate about ending international period taboos because my parents are immigrants from Pakistan and we have a lot of bad experience visiting there and even trying to get products. It's like the stigma is really bad over there. Um, my favorite thing about the menstrual movement is that when I went to Michigan's first National Period Day rally in Ann Arbor, and I got to see Abdul El-Sayed speak. He was a candidate for Michigan's governor last election, so that was really cool. And my favorite food is pasta.
Okay, cool. So moving on to the presentation, now that all of us have had a chance to introduce ourselves, here's a basic introduction to our overarching concept for today, which is food and your period. So during a research project or a research study conducted at a University of Medical Science, essentially a group of young women with and without extreme pain during their period were given a survey based off of their nutrition habits. And this survey kind of covered habits like how often they ate fatty foods, how often they drank carbonated beverages, and as well as other things like their general diet with fruits and vegetables and their physical activity habits as well. And what this study concluded was that good nutrition, when combined with physical activity, leads to a lower instance or lower instances of menstrual pain. So essentially, with the right diet and exercise, you can help lower the amount of pain that you feel during your period. And there are also certain foods that do make period pain worse while it's happening. So that's some of the topics that we're going to be covering today. And what's the deal essentially behind period pain, period cramps, and that type of thing? There's a hormone called prostaglandins that is naturally occurring during menstruation, and it's synthesized during stress, which tells the body to start healing itself. So this can create reactions that cause pain, fever, and inflammation. And it's the most common cause of period pain and muscle spasms when an overproduction of prostaglandins is released to help with the uterine lining shedding during a period. So essentially what happens when we consume pre-processed fatty or sugary foods during our period is that we might end up stimulating the amount of prostaglandins produced and thus lead to worse period pain. So on that note, what nutrition is good nutrition? There are a couple of things like magnesium, fiber, and I still can't pronounce this, but oleocanthal, which is found in olive oil, that can help with reducing period pain, while saturated fats and high amounts of salt and sugar can worsen the amount of period pain experienced during menstruation. And a couple of things from what we talked about with magnesium, fiber, and oleocanthal, a couple of things that we have specifically with produce that would fall into that area of good nutrition that could help lower period pain. We got bananas, blueberries, avocado, and watermelon. So we have bananas, which have vitamin B6 that boost your mood, fiber that increase bowel movement and regulates your digestive system, potassium and magnesium that retains water and relaxes your muscles. And then for blueberries, you got fiber, antioxidants, vitamin C, and this can help reduce chronic inflammation, balance your hormones. Avocados have a lot of healthy fats and potassium that helps balance hormones and reduce muscle cramps, as well as fiber and magnesium, which can reduce anxiety and sleeping problems. And also watermelon with water, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and little amounts of sugar, and small amounts of natural sugar as a note can help with cramping. So we have a couple of notes on fruit, just that fruits do have, some fruits, especially like bananas, are higher in sugar than others. And just an important note to keep in mind while we have this presentation is that it's kind of more of a way to figure out what's going to work for you during your period. Like things like bananas obviously shouldn't be eaten in excess. And in general, I think that fruits and vegetables are good for you because they contain a lot of really good nutrients. So essentially, what I'm trying to say is that there are going to be a lot of options and a really diverse amount of foods and nutrients and things that you could consume that we're going to cover that do have varying things. Like some fruits will be high in sugar, and some things like avocados are going to be higher in fat. So consume it within the realm of a healthy diet and you should be good. So moving on, we have lemons, broccoli, bell peppers, and oranges. Lemons are rich in vitamins, particularly vitamin C, and a specific benefit of lemons is that it helps your body absorb iron from food into your bloodstream and tissues. Lemons also contain a lot of fiber, which prevents muscle spasms. Broccoli is one of the top foods that help with menstrual cramps. The fiber and iron in broccoli help fight period cramps, and these nutrients might help with all menstrual pain, particularly in your lower abdomen. Bell peppers are rich in fiber and have high water content, which helps fight bloating, cramps, and even gas. And they also contain high levels of potassium. Bell peppers help combating the puffiness caused by sodium in the food that we eat. Oranges contain more vitamin C than lemons, magnesium, potassium, and vitamin D. In fact, oranges have almost as much of these nutrients as milk does. And a couple of oranges every day may help relieve period cramps and menstrual pain. And then moving on to omega-3 foods. These are foods that are high in minerals, high in fiber, and high in healthy fats. So we have flax seeds, hemp seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, fish, and also dark leafy greens like spinach and kale. The avocados mentioned earlier would also fall into this category or these categories as well.
Hey everyone, so I'm Genevieve again, and I will be talking about some seasonings that are good for when you're on your period. So the first one is called curcumin, and this is from the ginger family. It's an orange color like you see in the picture, and it's used in herbal medicine. And by itself, it's poorly absorbed by the body. So if you mix it with black pepper, it can increase absorption by 2000%. And this is something that can be beneficial in terms of inflammation when you're on your period. And so if you're taking curcumin supplements, look for ones that contain black pepper, and always talk to your doctor about trying supplements first. And then next is ginger. There's been a lot of research done on ginger in several studies showing that it can be used as a treatment for PMS, and it may help reduce the severity of PMS symptoms. And it has also been shown to help with dysmenorrhea, which is basically just very painful, heavy periods. Um, so some things you could do, you could take a ginger powder, or you could add ground ginger into recipes you're making, or a great way to get ginger in is by drinking ginger tea. And in a few slides, we actually have a recipe that I'll share with you guys about how to make ginger tea. And then the last seasoning we have is oregano, which comes from the mint family, and it has a lot of healthy antioxidants, and it's also used in herbal medicine. And oregano can help with cramping, sore muscles, and headaches. And so you could use dried oregano. That's probably the most easily accessible form. You could add it to things like pasta or pizza or soup, to add some flavor and antioxidants. Now I'm going to talk about some drinks that you could make or drink that help with your period. So these are a few simple drink options that you could consider. The first is peppermint tea, which there have been studies, kind of like ginger. Peppermint can soothe the symptoms of PMS, and it can specifically relieve menstrual cramps, nausea, and diarrhea. So it'd be great if you could combine peppermint and ginger. That would be like a double whammy for your period. Um, Another drink you can make is hot chocolate. The only thing is that milk chocolate tends to be high in sugar, and sugar can be inflammatory. So you might want to consider trying a dark chocolate, hot chocolate, because it has magnesium, which can help you with cramps and also help you sleep. And then finally, dairy-free milks. So dairy can be inflammatory as well, and so you want to just try to stay away from it. It affects people differently, so just see like how your body is feeling with dairy while you're on your period, and maybe try to limit it and use milks like oat milk or soy milk or something like that. So here we have a few more drinks. Water, that's probably the easiest drink you could find. But it's super important to drink water on your period because you're losing those nutrients when you're bleeding, and you want to stay hydrated. And it says drinking enough water may help your muscles relax and avoid bloating and gas. Um, so water is great. And then we have chamomile tea, which is great for menstrual cramps. It also has anti-inflammatory properties, and it can also potentially help your mood. And then finally, we have ginger tea, which I talked about ginger earlier. It's a really great way to help with nausea and bloating, period pain, and it's known to be a good coffee replacement because it can help energize you and help you feel a bit more awake. So here we have a ginger tea recipe. You could easily just buy ginger tea at the store in tea bags, but if you want to make your own, here's a recipe. You'll need a 1-inch chunk of fresh ginger. You'll need a cup of water, and then any optional flavorings, so like a cinnamon stick or some mint leaves. And then if you want to add a lemon or orange or some honey or something like that. So the first instruction is combining the ginger slices and water in a saucepan over high heat. And if you want to add a flavoring, then you'll add that too. And you bring it to a simmer and then reduce the heat to a gentle simmer for 5 minutes. And then you want to take it off the heat and pour the mixture through like a mesh sieve or one of those like little tea things, into a cup. And if you want to serve it with honey or a lemon, then you can serve it, but make sure to serve it hot. And that's how to make homemade ginger tea. And then here we have a smoothie if you want something more cold. You could easily add lots of different things such as blueberries, which we talked about earlier. You could add blueberries, you could add avocado for healthy fats, you could add bananas, nuts and seeds like chia seeds, different legumes and vegetables. So there's a lot of variety, and we have the link down here. And if you just go on Pinterest or Google and just search like high fiber smoothies or smoothies for your period, there will be some great options that will pop up.
Hi guys, I'm Zainab. I'll be starting off with talking about breakfast. It's really important to start off your day when you're on your period with a good meal because I think it helps you set your intention for healthy eating for the day. So out of these three, the first one is scrambled eggs. This is important because they contain vitamins B6, D, and E, which all work together to fight off symptoms of PMS. And yogurt, non-dairy yogurt would be better because dairy contains omega-6 fatty acids, which can increase inflammation. And non-dairy yogurt also can contain calcium, which helps relax your muscles, which in turn is effective in reducing painful menstrual cramps. And then also oatmeal is really good, made with non-dairy milk or water, because they're packed with fiber, which helps in making you feel full for longer. This improves your digestion, and also like throughout the day, it kind of helps you avoid snacking. Typically when I snack, I know I eat more unhealthy stuff, so it's good to have more filling meals. And oats are also loaded with zinc and magnesium, which help in making your period symptoms less severe. And then this is a blueberry, avocado, and chia breakfast pudding. This can be helpful if your period stopped or has become irregular, because that's a sign of low estrogen, and this recipe can help with that. So for your ingredients, you're gonna want 1 very ripe avocado, 1 cup of blueberries, preferably frozen so you don't have to add extra ice, and then 2 tablespoons of coconut milk or any other milk, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup or honey, half teaspoon vanilla extract, and 1 teaspoon ground chia seeds or whole. And it's better if you soak the chia seeds in water before using them because that increases its nutritional value. So you're just gonna combine all of those in a blender and blend until smooth and silky, and then refrigerate for at least 30 minutes before serving. This allows the chia to thicken, and you should do this if you don't soak your chia seeds in water beforehand. And then these are some meals that should help you during your period. Simple vegetable meals are really good because, for example, like salad, some things you would put in salad is spinach, and that's loaded with magnesium, vitamin B6, and E. And all of those have been shown to fight menstrual cramps. And lentils and beans are very good too because they're a good source of something called heme iron. And this helps to replenish iron levels that are lost during our bleed because we do lose quite a bit of blood on our periods. And then also tofu is very good because it's a magnesium-rich food, and it helps to support PMS-associated water retention and menstrual pain. Some simple meat meals are chicken, which is protein rich and it helps you stay full and sated during your period, so you aren't craving more unhealthy food. And fish such as salmon are good too, because it contains iron that can counteract the dip in iron levels that you experience while menstruating. It also contains omega-3s, which reduce the intensity of period pain, according to a study that we found. And red meat is also good, but you kind of have to be careful with it because it contains prostaglandins, so it can allow your period to go quicker because they help you contract and get rid of your uterine lining. However, very high levels of this do cause cramps because that's how the uterus gets rid of the blood, is by cramping up. So you should eat this in moderation. And then these are some snacks that should help. So nuts are very good because they're high in vitamin E, which can help prevent painful migraines, such as cashews and almonds and pistachios, which are my favorite. And dark chocolate will relax your muscles as it contains magnesium, omega-3, and omega-6 fatty acids. Fresh fruit is good, obviously, fruit, not food. That's good in moderation, as Emily said, because it's very much loaded with sugar, and although it's natural, it's better to still consume lower amounts of it. A 28 study of university students in Spain found that vegetarian diets and simply eating more fruits and veggies corresponded to fewer cramps and reduced menstrual pain. And this is a recipe for dark chocolate, orange almond bark. And this is very good. I love chocolate, and who knew that it could help during your period, but it does. Also, oranges are a good source of vitamin C, so that's always good. You'll just need dark chocolate, almonds, orange zest, and flaky sea salt. So the instructions are to toast them for 7 to 10 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit on a rimmed baking sheet, and then remove from the oven, set aside to cool, then chop them coarsely. And then melt 3/4 of the chocolate in a bowl set over a pan in simmering water. And once it's melted, remove from the heat and then stir in the remaining chocolate until melted. And then spread the melted chocolate on the parchment paper lined baking sheet. And this kind of makes it easier for you to take it off and break it. And then you're gonna make it about 1/4 inch thick. And while still warm, sprinkle evenly with orange zest and chopped toasted almonds and flaky sea salt. And then just let it cool completely and then break it into pieces. Here are some foods to avoid. Sugary drinks like soda can contribute to bloating a lot, so it's better to just stick with water. And having more water, although it seems like it would make you bloat even more, but that helps you flush everything out of your system and makes you bloat less. So that's a good substitute over soda. And fried foods aren't good to eat because they increase inflammation and thus contribute to pain. Caffeine, if you guys drink coffee every day, I don't think that you should drink as much when you're on your period because they cause vasoconstriction, which is pretty much the narrowing of blood vessels, and this can increase the amount of cramps you experience. A good substitute for this is ginger tea, like Genevieve said. Also, putting things in it like cinnamon and honey can make it more flavorful if you guys like it more flavorful. And then fish, eggs, veggies, and fruits is associated with a low incidence of painful menstruation. So you should eat fruits more, and you can actually train your mind to kind of think of fruits as candy. If you keep eating them, your brain just starts craving them more than more of the processed sugars. And we have 2 slides of our sources, and then that's the end of the presentation. But so let's have a discussion. Do you guys have any bad foods or good foods that you found makes your period better?